Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel at Jama. Sorry, I'm a bit late. I was trying to set up some stuff for y'all, but it wasn't working. So I'm like, I don't want to delay. I was trying to be fancy and have a new setup for y'all, but it wasn't working. Just give me a second, y'all. Thanks everyone for joining. I want to make sure this is muted. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today is what? Thank you all so much for joining today. Today's Tuesday, March 12th. I can't believe we're almost halfway through March. It's crazy. But Tuesday, March 12th. Thank you all so much for being here. Happy daylight savings. It's still bright outside, but I still have to have my light on because by the time we're done with this video, it may not be that bright outside. But hello everyone. Let me know where you guys are all watching from. Today's video is going to be interesting. Nana's going to be joining us shortly, but I just want to start the live and start off with a bit of some backstory. So we started this series, one of the first videos we made on this channel over 5 years ago that got viral. Back then for us, 1,000 views was a viral video. This video was in January 2019 titled, Why Are Black Women Single? Okay. I had to go through all those videos today. I was just like, I was texting them like, we've come a long way. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, some of our talking points, we were so young in this topic. We were so, supposed to living at home, but we were really coming with the facts. We were really coming with like knowledge. Like, I was actually really proud of us watching these older videos. So our first video came out January 2019, 5 years ago, titled Why Are Black Women Single, right? So we gave five main reasons to why we believed Black women were single. When we say all Black women, of course, are not single. A lot of Black women are happily married, but this conversation was so important for me for us to have because at that point I was almost done with grad school and I kept noticing a pattern. Year after year, we would come back every fall and a whole new set of women would be married and none of them were Black. None of them. And I just thought like something is here. Like this is not random. This is not happen chance. This is not by coincidence. The reason why our non-Black counterparts are marrying at a higher rate than us, right? So we gave five reasons. Us being a minority overall compared to the other groups, which we kind of combat later on. We talked about being a minority, 13.6% of America is Black. We talked about preference, average Black woman preferring to be with a Black man. We talked about the legal system. I had to confirm these numbers today, but 1 in 3 Black men have at least one felony conviction, okay? So that was mentioned, the legal system, us not having enough Black men to choose from in America. Number 4 being that Black men don't prioritize Black women, that they're more open-minded compared to Black women, right? Even though we know now statistics show that 85% of Black men are married to a Black woman. However, 93% of Black women are married to a Black man. So even though, yes, the majority of Black men are married to Black women, we're not going to negate that. It's still at a lower rate than Black women, right? And number 5 we had was access. College, being focused on studying, not meeting as many people as our peers. All right, that was part 1 of our video. If you're just jumping in, I'm recapping our previous videos we made years ago. One of our first viral videos listing why are Black women single, and I'm just relisting it. I'm going to link them down below in the description box once we're done with this live. I just want to give you guys a background of what we were giving as some of the reasons why Black women were single. And then we made a part 2 video where we held women ourselves accountable, things that we're not, because the first video was more of like things that we felt like were out of our control, right? Someone could look at it kind of like playing the victim. So the second video, part 2, where our Black women single, we discussed things that we have under our control that Black women aren't doing at the best of our ability, right? So we had number one, not going out enough. Lifestyle. When I was rewatching it, I'm like, yo, we still talking about that? We was hitting about not going out enough. Number two, we talked about not interacting enough when we go out, not being as sociable, approachable. A lot of black women have the stereotype of having the resting B face, being unapproachable, not being, not smiling, not being friendly. And we were talking about all this stuff before I even knew what the Manosphere, any of those big creators were. I did not even know that existed on YouTube. We weren't even monetized at that time. We were bringing up these points just based on these anecdotal points based on the experiences we personally had, the people around us, what they were seeing, the conversations we were having with our friends and family members. Number three, we talked about not utilizing online dating as much. As of then, there's studies that show, hello, welcome. I'm giving a recap of the videos. I'm on part two. As of then, studies show that Black women were the group of women who utilized online dating the least. That was 4 years ago. I wonder if that still holds now, the same now. But that was one of our reasons not using online enough. And if you know me personally, how I feel about online, I'm not that crazy about it. But it is more accepted by other groups and used more, commonly for sure. Then we had waiting to be approached, waiting to be chased, and then we had being too educated. All right. So if you're joining in right now, please let us know where you're watching from. I just gave like a quick recap of our first viral videos pertaining to this topic. Why are Black women single? In honor of Women's History Month. This is March. We had International Women's Month on Friday. We wanted to do something fun,
No
something
Women's Day.
International Women's Day on Friday. We want to do something interactive, a topic that we feel like, even going through the comments of these videos today, I was like, this type of people, like, they eat it up. Like, the comments were crazy in these videos, and we were like just in very, very early stages of YouTube, and we were oh, okay, we see what they hear. We were very, very
The same dress.
what?
I was gonna wear the same dress. Should I go change?
Nah, you good. We were in the very early stages of YouTube. We were really, really talking about these things, and it's crazy how 5 years later, I feel like it's still there. Like, it's still equally as relevant. I don't think the issue has, if anything, I don't know. I think it's still an issue. So, and then we had a part three video about self sabotage. That may be one of the reasons why Black women are single. So we did like a 3-part series because we realized a lot of people were, falling into the content. We were getting a lot of engagement, and we just kept making like several parts. So make sure you like this video, you all. Let us know where you're calling from. We don't want to waste too much time because we want to be able to get some calls in. But Nana, I'll pose a question to you since I started off giving background information. When we think about the reasons we listed before, I don't know if you caught the 5 reasons I listed from our first video: us Black people being a minority, Black women preferring Black men, the legal system, 1 out of 3 Black men has at least one felony conviction, Black men not prioritizing Black women, and access, as in Black women not prioritizing dating in college or in professional school. What, in your opinion, what are some reasons that you think you find Black women struggling more when it comes to dating compared to women of other races and or ethnicities?
I don't really know this topic. I feel like it just gets so redundant and it's just like the same thing over and over again. No one really has a solution. Everyone just has theories for the most part. I don't think there's one single reason. I think just like you mentioned, I think it's a combination of reasons. And I just feel like with the climate now in general, people are just more scared to settle down, which I understand because of the way marriages have been working in recent times. So I don't think I can really pinpoint and say there's one reason why I feel like a lot of women of color struggle with dating. But I would say if I were to guess and just have to pick one,
Based on
maybe
not guessing, based on your personal experience, what you see people around you going through, what is a reason that you think, if not one of the ones that we listed, that can contribute to why it could be a bit more challenging for Black women when it comes to dating?
I just think a lot of women are also scared of settling down. It's not just the man being scared. I think a lot of women are have a lot to lose as well. Like how men are saying they have a lot to lose, and I think people just don't want to make a mistake. And I think I don't think that's even gender specific. I think that's both genders, men and women.
It's crazy how you mentioned that, right? Because after going through all our old content, I had to look. I think your audio is making like a little bit of sound. After
Mhm.
going through all our old videos and going through all our old content, I had to look through all the reasons. And I literally wrote in my notes, updated 2024, 5 years later. I still believe a lot of the reasons still hold true. But to be honest, the one reason that I feel like I wasn't thinking about that far back that I'm thinking about now is mindset. And I think that really speaks to what you just said. I think that when I look at a lot of the content that's out there, even look at how some women, myself included, live our lives, I just feel as if because maybe it could be a response to just being through so much, having gone through so much, having taken so much. I feel like a lot of women, low key, are not excited or not like they kind of like unbothered. Like when it comes to the whole like relationships, like it's something that we kind of it's easy to put to like the back burner. Like we'll get to that after we've done this. We don't really want to deal with that part of our lives because it's it. To be honest, if you want to be vulnerable, you could be someone who's so successful. You're good at getting things done. You're good at tackling certain issues. When it comes to the matters of the heart, you don't have as much control. That's just the truth. It's an area where like it's not I don't know, it's not like you're putting in this amount and you're gonna see this. It's not like, oh, if I put in this amount of hours or if I go to the gym this much amount of time, most likely and I eat well, I'm gonna see the abs start coming in. If I put in this amount of work, I'm gonna get a promotion. If I do this, this is gonna happen. When it comes to things like dating and relationships, sometimes you feel as if you're putting in the work or you're putting in the effort and you're not really getting the results you want. So I think it's easy to kind of just like pull away or kind of just be like, if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to stress myself. And I understand that to an extent. I understand not being preoccupied and just being overly obsessed with it because it even comes to a point as content creators and just being, watching a lot of this content. There's a large focus on relationships. Even I was on church Sunday, I was telling my friend, like, it's almost like every church now, even their series, love, relations. I do think it comes to a point when it becomes a little overwhelming. Like it's a lot. Is that all we're going to talk about? Is that all we're going to focus our lives on? Relationship, marriage, relationship, dating, marriage. Is there not more to life than that? But I do think the mindset, I don't think it's women alone for sure. Both men and women is definitely part to do with it, right? It definitely plays a part to why we're having, why we're in the situation that we're in as of now. Because if you kind of feel as if I don't really need something or like something, it's almost like it's gonna happen whenever it happens, or it's not something I want to stress about. That mindset alone, it shows in the way that we approach and the way that we operate dating. It's like I don't want to be bothered almost. I don't have the energy, I don't have the time. I'll focus on the things that are quantifiable, that are tangible, whether it's going to school, whether it's making more money, whether it's personal development. When it comes to this relationship stuff, I just want to keep it over there. And when I'm ready to deal with it, I'll deal with it. So I think that's definitely a big factor. Let me pull up. I have some stuff up. Um, 1 second. But yeah, make sure you guys are liking this video. Like it. We want as many people to join as possible. So I think when we talk about a lot of these statistics and these numbers, I think a lot of people just throw out like some random numbers and just say stuff that sound like just to be like how they say like for one man there's like 11 women like somewhere like Atlanta, which is not accurate. It's farthest from the truth. But they throw out a lot of numbers that kind of using them as like fear tactics to make people feel like this to get people in like kind of like that scarcity mentality. That's why I'm very weary about the way you present numbers. But according to blackdemographics.com, in 2020, only 30% of African Americans were married compared to 48% of all Americans, right? And half or 50% of African Americans have never been married compared to 34% of all Americans. So if we compare those numbers to overall Americans, is it that bad? If we're saying 30% of African Americans were married compared to 48%, yeah, I think that's a big difference compared to 48% of Americans. Yeah, and then of the 50% have never been married, only 34% of Americans have never been married. I want to share this because I think it's important to see it visually. 1 second. I'll share my screen.
Right. So, like you was saying, I'm not gonna lie, like the relationship topics, I know that's what people want to hear and is really relevant, but I'm not gonna lie, personally, as a person, I feel like it just really gets redundant, and it's almost like we just focus on the problems instead of creating solutions to the problems. Like, obviously, for the most part, we'll be able to identify a problem, but we don't really know what to do about the problem. So I just feel like
Do we know what? Do we not know? Is that accurate? Do we not know what to do, or we don't want to do what we need to do?
you can't force people to get married. You can't force people to be marriage minded. You can't force people to prioritize relationships. You can't do that. That's all. Those are individualist. Those are all choices an individual has to make for themselves. You can't really. Yeah, you can talk about what's going on. You can talk about the statistics. You could bring up one in every two marriages end in divorce. Yeah, you can bring all that up, but you can't make people do what they don't want to do. You cannot force people to do what they don't want to do. They have to want to do. They have to
Mhm.
understand the value and the importance, and you
But
can't force them to understand that.
I get what you're saying, but then isn't people's value and importance in the way they view something based on the information that's presented to them? So we make decisions for the most part. We're making informed decisions based on the information that we have available to us. You decide whether you want to, go to college. Same way someone can make the same argument. Listen to so many podcasts that college is a waste of money for the most part. Many people shouldn't be going to it. They should be going into trade or doing other stuff or starting a business. They're going to end up with a bunch of debt with a degree they're never going to use. All decisions we make are based on the information that's presented to us. So if people are choosing or not choosing to do something, I understand you can't force someone, you can't hold them by the neck and say, do this, do that. But they're also making that decision based on what they've seen, or based on what's been presented to them is essentially what they've seen, or based on their personal experiences or what a lot of people around them have been through to come to that decision. So I still feel as if to say that, there's nothing, like, almost to be like, oh, well, there's nothing you could really do. You can't really change people's mindset. Uh, I get it, but I wouldn't agree with that. And I think that that's part of maybe why when you like churches now or everywhere is trying to kind of push this narrative, especially in the Black community, because they feel as if us being in the situation is hurting us more than it's helping us, right? They see what it's done to the Black family. They see what it does to family structures, even the economics part of it, right? Having a lot of single family households. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for them try and push them or show people what they believe to be the benefits or the importance, because nothing is perfect. Of course, everything has its good and its bad. But I think where I can agree or where I can say that it could become a bit much is when it's like something that's just being constantly pushed is a way that is pushed. I think that could be a bit problematic. Sorry. But let us know, you all. There's 20 plus people here. Y'all quiet in the chat. Where are you guys watching from? Let us know where you guys are from. How do you feel about this topic? Does anyone have any personal opinions as compared to other groups of women? Why do you think, or if is this true, why do you think that some Black women struggle compared to other groups of women when it comes to dating and relationships? If it's anything different than what I've stated.
Petra said most Black women want Black men, and a lot of them don't want us or and are open to dating slash marrying outside. So this, I was just thinking about the title, even this live. What the real reason why so many Black women are single? If so many Black women are single, aren't so many Black men single as well?
Listen,
Why don't we really see that as a like viral title, as a viral topic? Why are so many Black men single? Because let's be real, a lot of Black men, they're not necessarily marrying out. Like if they're not getting married, they're not getting
look, I'll
married.
bring the statistics because Petra brought a break point. I didn't. I went into that slightly in the beginning, but some of y'all may have missed that because I started off right in the beginning. So make sure you guys like this video. As of 2022, 2021, 85% of Black men who are married to Black women. Right? So when people would always, and I know RIP KS used to always bring up the statistic, right? Because that's a big one. We said it in our video 5 years ago that Black men don't prioritize us, that they rather be with non-Black women. So you would think the number would be like
If
60.
they're with a Black woman, there's usually a type of Black woman they're going for.
Listen,
If you
we'll land there. We'll get there. It's early. It's only 20 minutes in. It's early. We'll get there. But according to the statistics, 85% of Black men who are married to a Black woman. That's a solid B. Okay, if you 85 is a high number, but if you flip it on the other side, how many of the percentage of Black women who are married, how many of them are married to a Black man? 93%. So that discrepancy, which doesn't seem like a lot, that 8%, when you're putting it over 45 million people, it's a number, man, right? So it still shows.
I don't even think those numbers to any of them are really even honestly that relevant. I feel like it's how many percent of Black women are married, and then how many percent of black men are married? Like
Right.
I
Let me
think
get
those
that.
two
I have it here.
I feel like that's what's really gonna like. If you tell me, okay, 30% of black women are single, and it's but only 5% of black men are single, okay, then I'm gonna be like, oh wow, that's really a black woman issue, right? But if I'm assuming just using common knowledge that if black women are single, a lot of black men are also single. So why is the narrative always the why are black women single? Why are black women single? Why are black
Because the shame of being single is most likely pushed on women as a society, right? Talk about shame. When a man is single, I could maybe where's little Ernest, all our men in the chat, y'all gotta come and speak for yourselves. I don't want to speak for men. From my perception, when men are single, I don't necessarily think they're single shame in the way that women are.
Mm,
They're not looked at like they have a problem or they're not doing something right. Versus when a woman is single, especially a woman of a certain age, the shame of being single is put on women. Someone just said this music. Men are usually single by choice, right? And it's not to say that women necessarily not be single by choice, because many women are single, choose to be single, but is it by choice or is it because they're not finding the men that they want? Or they're not getting they don't like it's not that they're saying that they have no interest or they don't want to deal with it, but it's just and I think you're frozen. Your face is frozen. It's not that they don't have any okay, you're good now. It's not that they don't have any interest or they don't desire to be partnered, but they're not finding people, that they're interested in or people that they want. So I think that it's read very differently. I think I get what you're pointing at. If we're talking about this thing, it shouldn't be just why are black women single, because black men, if we're majority dating each other, the black men are also single. So we can equally have a topic that says why are black men single. But I think it's because the sentiment, the shame, the conversation is usually always around women. Like women are the problem, or we're not doing something right to be desired or to be partnered, or that we're failing in one way or the other, which is not usually the case or always the case. And you want to go through comments? Let me look for those
am
numbers
I
you
breaking
asked
up?
for.
Because I feel like were you? Am I
You're
breaking up?
good. You keep freezing. I don't know if you want to come out the studio and come back in, but you keep freezing. Like your face is freezing on the screen. I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi issue, but I'll go through the comments while Nana's working on that. Evie said, "Hey, Evie, we grew up seeing our mothers miserable and surviving. Not surprised that we struggle to prioritize love, family, and marriage because that wasn't a priority to our mothers teaching us that when we were young." Evie, you hit it. I don't know if you're on the live when I mentioned why I personally believe we had other factors I mentioned in our video 5 years ago. Why are black women single? Um, being a minority, preferring to date only black men, legal system, black men not prioritizing us, and access, not dating enough in college or whatever the case may be. But I mentioned my biggest update to those reasons that we mentioned before is mindset. I will agree as a woman, as a black woman, that I do believe this is a big factor. This is a big part of it. A lot of us saw these things, or we didn't see women necessarily having these good experiences when it comes to dating relationships. So why am I going to sit there and desire or sit there and be so after something that I didn't really see working for the women around me, or I don't necessarily look at like something like as an accomplishment or something positive. It's something that I want to do, and it's something that I know will eventually happen, but it's not something that I feel as if, oh, this is going to make my life so great because I didn't see that happening to other people around me. So I definitely think this is a part mindset. I think we can't speak to this enough. I think a lot of us have just seen some things or experienced some things personally that can make like marriage not really be like as desirable as other races of women. That's just my take on it. When guys are single, it's because we don't have a rush to get married and have kids. We can have kids later on in life. Okay, little Ernest, you're making a point as if there's not as much of a time um restriction. Like it's yeah, you're not as limited when it comes to time, a time when because you're not the ones worried about getting pregnant and having kids. That's fair. And listen, I shame me for being single, but I'm weird like that. He said, I shame you for oh hi Anna, how you been?
She meant shame men for being single, but
I shame men for being single, but I'm weird like that, especially after a certain age. And let me tell you, let me peep game. It comes to a point that I've noticed certain guys, well, they start lying about age, and when it and I think that's part of the shame part that you mentioned because I shame men because we do it at a certain point we do it too. So they may feel as if they're not at a certain point in their life and they're not partnered that we're going to look at them a certain type of way. So that's probably why some start lying about age and all that stuff. But yeah, it can go both ways. But I definitely think the shame we can't argue is it's put more on women. It's not as much as men. If a man says I wanted to spend my 30s focus on my career, my personal life, it's like, okay, that's understandable. But if a woman said the same thing, I don't think people would take to it as easily, or it would be received the same way. It
I
wouldn't
don't know
be.
what's.
Try and connect with your phone Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
On
what's up, my.
Okay, on average, it seems that Black women wait until they finish college or to be financially stable until they start thinking about marriage, versus other cultures start looking for a husband in college. I mentioned that, me, in our video 5 years ago, as one of the reasons why we believed Black women were single was college focused studying. In college, focused on studying, and Black women aren't taught to go into college looking for a husband. This is a point that's a lot of times thrown out when it comes to Black women, especially in that, that manosphere, whatever that sector is referred to as. And I understand it, but at the same time, I feel like it's a bit unfair, right? Because I went to college. It wasn't 20 years ago. It was barely 10 years ago, right? And from my recollection, Black men weren't going into college looking for wives either. So at the same time, a lot of our behaviors, people are so quick to judge us or say what we aren't or shouldn't be doing, or what we can be doing better. But if I go into college ready to settle down and get married, and my fellow Black counterparts who I'm dating aren't going into college, my male counterparts aren't going into college thinking that way, does it really matter? Like, is that going to change my outcome? Like, this is not something that has to do with only one person, right? This is not something that has to do with only me. I can't just go into college being marriage minded and that's going to make me find a husband if the men are not marriage minded either. So I think that it's not to play the blame game, because we don't get anywhere by blaming one another. But I think that's one area that a lot of Black men struggle to take accountability with. A lot of y'all are not in college looking for wives. Let's be real. Little Ernest, other men in the chat, other of our faithful followers, come and defend yourselves if you're thinking differently. But me and I can recall, we were in college, we had friends that they were ready to marry their boyfriends. That they would have said yes, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. And those men were not trying to do that with them. They weren't. So I think it's a bit unfair to make it seem as if Black women just go to college and they're just so focused on the degrees and they're not worried about dating or being married. And Black men are there being so serious looking for wives and we're rejecting them. Like, that's a narrative that's usually put out, and it's just not true. It's not true. I don't know if anyone has experienced differently, but has different experiences. But for me, what I've seen, that's just not the case. Brianna O said social media. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting point, because I was asking, what do y'all think are some reasons that Black women may struggle when it comes to dating relationships compared to our counterparts? Brianna, do you want to expand? Because it's funny you mentioned, I visited a new church on Sunday, right? And the pastor was going in. He was going in and he was basically saying that he feels as if a lot of women are getting the wrong messaging about relationships and marriage off of social media. He's like, you women think that a man is, he went on the man, of course, too, but he was saying like women think that a man is supposed to be buying them a Chanel bag every month or taking them out to dates every few days as you're married.
Women don't think that. Average women don't
It was
think
like, and I said, those are extreme women. And one man started screaming, "Yes, Pastor!" It was so hilarious. Like, he was screaming, like he felt that in his heart, like he's struggling with that in his dating life. And he's like, some women feel as if they're supposed to be going on date nights every other day. When you're married, life is not like that. Sometimes me and my wife look at each other and we're like, we plan to go out and we're like, we're just so tired. Let's just order food and we're so happy just staying in. So the point he was kind of trying to make is that he feels as if social media gives women an unrealistic standard that they're looking for when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage. And he also went on the men too, saying they're expecting women to cook and clean and work just like them, then be machines in the bed and do all that stuff. And that's not, then the men were. It was so funny. Like, it was actually it was a very entertaining service. So I don't know, but I do think that social media definitely it plays into a lot of things that are happening to us in this day and age, because people use it so frequently, and it's something that we all are super exposed to at this point. But Brianna, if you're still in the live, I would just like you to expand on what you mean, particularly by social media. Then can you start with music's comment? I'm trying to look for that statistic you asked for.
Okay. Said Black women in college should look for older men. No college kid with no career is about to propose.
And that's the point, music. And I get that's fair, but I'm saying we're going into college looking at college guys that they're not trying to get married. Like, Black men, like, they're not. On average, they're not. they're not. Like, let's be real.
But you don't have to get married in college. I think it's more about securing a partner in college, maybe. Like, and then you can date them for 5 years, 4 years, 6 years. Y'all are young, you know. I think it's more about
Mhm.
like meeting the person. I don't think anyone's expecting someone in college to get married. In college campuses, other nationalities, white, Asian, Indian, get married early, age 18, 19, 20. Is this for real? Especially at PWI schools, Black students age 18, 21 go to school to party and have fun. I don't know. I went to PWI and I wasn't seeing people of any race get married in the ages of 18 to 22. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think
Serious
that's,
relationships,
yeah,
yeah,
I think the point is meeting someone, maybe that's different. But getting married, I don't think any race really gets married in college. I don't
anymore.
anymore. Like I think
Unless
those
you're
are
maybe at like in a Jesuit school, like you're in a Mormon school or something, a very specific like religious school. But on average, the age is going later for everyone, right? It's just that it seems like for Black women, it's just a bit different.
Mia said, on average, white women and white men know they're guaranteed a good job when they finish college based on who they know. They have life already set up, so all they have to worry about is finding a partner versus fact. Mia, I would agree with you, but I
Yeah.
don't. I read a book last year called "It's Marriage for White People," right? And I wish I had my notes from that. Today just was such a busy day. And believe it or not, more Black people were married during segregation times,
Yep.
during times when they were making way less money,
In the six, I
during
have it up here in the '60s. What was it? Up
during times when like so I feel like want to agree with you, but I feel like this money thing,
until 1970, Black women were more likely to be married than white women up until
so
1970.
I just feel like this money thing kind of is an excuse sometimes. And I think people of color use money a lot as an excuse. A lot as an excuse
When it
because
comes to settling down and doing things that come to relationships, marriage, and family, but we find
I
money for
get
other
it.
things.
I get it. Life is hard. Inflation is real. Joe Biden, I don't know what he's doing, right? Like
There you
things
go.
are really hard out here. But I say it all the time. Most people I know, including myself, if their parents had waited for them to be financially stable, they wouldn't be alive right now. They wouldn't be here. So I think sometimes our generation overthinks things, and we over like we
Waiting
want
for a perfect scenario to do
wait
things.
for perfect scenarios. Oh, we want our child to be able to do ballet and soccer. We want to be able to go to Disney World every summer. If you need to go to Disney World, your child could still have a good life. If your
Right.
child can do ballet and soccer, they could still have a decent life. I feel like our generation, I agree with Brianna, probably attributed to social media. I feel like we overanalyze things and we make like we think we need more than what we really do.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? Granted, life is expensive. I'll give it to you. As a single person, like life can be expensive out here, but I think at the same time, people of color tend to focus on money too much. And when I see other races like that get married, they don't necessarily have that much money.
Yep.
People are getting married in professional school where they're relying on loans. They don't have money. But I feel like it's the mindset they prioritize and they value marriage, right? Like they value it. So granted, I'm not saying you should be broke necessarily looking to get married, but yeah, music said, how is money an excuse when men know the second they're broke, that's when the insults begin. You haven't seen your community. Let's be honest. Money is an excuse because
Especially they misbehave is
money,
when the insults begin.
money is an excuse, music, because in 2024, most women are working.
Right.
So back in the day when women weren't even working, people were getting married and surviving. With two incomes, people can get married and survive.
And women are not expecting the average woman. Let's not use extremes on social media. We're not in Nigeria. If a man in Nigeria is telling me money's an excuse, yes, I agree with him 1,000%. The pressure is different. A man in America is not expected to give his wife a monthly allowance. He's not expected to give his wife grocery shopping money. He's not expected to pay 100% of the bills. So I get it. Music is a factor. Music, that money is a factor. And I'm not going to be insensitive because 2024, people are going through stuff, right? But it's still an excuse that I think a lot of us give because how much money then would be enough for you not to get the insults? Maybe you're getting insults because that girl is just not the right person, or maybe she has a bad mouth. You know what I mean? Because let's be real. I know social media, a lot of people get really, women can say a lot of things that are a lot, right? About always broke shaming men. We talk about shame. Women are shamed with age and other things. Men are shamed with money. We're not gonna argue that. Facts. Men are called broke and out of name a lot on social media, and it's not right. But at the same time, that's not every woman. I wouldn't even agree that's most women, right? The average woman knows that she has to contribute, that she's not looking for a millionaire. She's okay with an average guy. But even those men still don't want to settle down. because they're waiting and they personally feel as if they have to be at a certain level, or they have to acquire how many houses, and they have to do this and that to maybe do what you're saying, not get those insults. But then how about music? How about if you never get there? How about if the person, everyone's not going to become rich? Most of us are average 40, 50K workers. So does that mean because that person's making 40 or 50K that they're never eligible or qualified to be married? I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
If you said men are broke in college, they shouldn't propose until they get offered a jobs, junior, senior year after that internship. Now women are delaying marriage until financially stable. Oh, how the tables turn. And Kosi said, if black men and women are not marriage minded in universities, it shouldn't be a blame game. It's a cultural malfunction that is displayed among us whole other cultures such as whites and East Indian. I went to a PWI, saw 18-year-old freshmen on campus married and living together on an off-campus apartment, but they met at an early age, elementary school, so they grew together in life. Wow, I didn't see this when I was going to college. Bradley Pitt said materialism. What about materialism? T said, I can agree. I'm a Gen X, so we overanalyzed and wanted everything to fall into place in order to be married. It is an ultimate fact that Arabs, East Indians, Chinese, and white women are getting married right after college.
Why
Interesting.
do you think that is in Kosi? Kosi.
T said it's also geography. In major areas and cities, there's so much diversity and access. There's no incentive to get married and commit. Yeah, we talk about this sometimes.
Distractions, right? I want to jump in because I know we're talking about the numbers before, and then that you're trying to confirm. It doesn't matter how many black women are married to black men or how many black women are married to black men. How many are overall married? As of 2021, 4.4% of black men were married compared to 28.6% of black women.
So more black men are married than black women.
Mhm. For whites, 55% of men were married compared to 52.4% of women being married.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. Mia said black women more settle for baby mama status and lavish baby showers because sometimes the confidence may not be there to believe she can be someone's wife. Wow, that's deep. Bradley Pitt said back in the days, broke men who didn't have a job. Nowadays, you're broke if you're not making at least six figures. Yeah, I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. In these times with inflation and what the type of life people just want to live, people want to have a house, people want to have a certain car, people what there's so much that people are aspiring to get, and realistically, to have all those things and to have kids that
Pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it
yeah,
out.
to have kids that can live a certain type of lifestyle, it is going to mean that you have to make significantly more money, right? But I think that money still, in my opinion, is still an excuse that a lot of us are using just because we're not ready.
Right.
Sometimes,
Someone didn't throw in the reason that they don't want to have to give all their money to their wives if, in the event that they divorce. Because I know that's a common reasoning that a lot of men give. I would even take that more before the whole money thing, to be honest.
Bradley Pitt said materialism is killing our community. Everyone wants to drive a Rolls Royce and travel all day. So when we say everyone, who is everyone? Because
Bradley, I just saw a video on that. I think it's in my watch later about materialism and the black culture materialism, and I think it was
you really feel like black people are more materialistic than other cultures.
Listen, I don't know, right? Because we have to see the numbers, right?
Mhm.
I think that a lot of it is when people think of black people overall, I feel like they're so quick to put like rap culture and like put like that stereotypical idea of what they perceive to be like the average black person and then throw that on all black people, right? Because I don't know. I think it's a lot of it plays into what social media is pushing out. I'm not saying that I don't know black materialistic people. I of course, but at the same time, I know we could say overall as a culture we're becoming more materialistic because of social media. This is a rise of like accessibility and having credit and being able to push things. Because I'm this even can tie into the whole like black woman luxury, soft life. I feel like sometimes black people are unfairly targeted when it comes down to like having nice things or coming off a certain way because people portray us to be poorer or not to have as much as we truly have. So it's almost like it's quick to just assume that person's wearing all this designers, they're materialistic, but you have to know how much money that person has, whether they can afford it or not, before you can make a conclusion to just say they're materialistic or they're so vain or they're spending above their means. Like, how can you really just come to that conclusion based off of a post or a video? I don't know.
I think the white, Asian, Indian get married fast due to marrying when they're at their most youthful. Blacks, if we take care of ourselves, we can look and feel younger for a longer period of time. T says some of us do live beyond our means, which doesn't prepare us for having a family. This is a big one. This is a big one. So if you're living beyond your means, it makes more sense. You might focus on money because you know that you are not financially where you want to be. So you don't want to start a family until you have a certain amount of money. Got it. The focus on wholesome relationships and marriages are culturally ingrained in other groups. In most cases, in America, most of us are not raised to be quality husbands or wives.
So you're speaking to my point about mindset. I think that's the biggest point that I missed out. Like I said, our video, how many years ago, we're talking about these major things, but all these things being true, I think a big part is the mindset. I do believe compared to other groups, I talk about being in grad school 4 years, coming back every year, every summer, and girls are showing off their rings and showing the wedding pictures to us year after year. And let's say there was like 12 or 13 black people in my class out of like 100 black people. There was one black person
Black people,
out of 100 students. There's like, let's say there was like 12, 13 of us, which is representative of the American population. If we have 12, 13 black people out of 100 people, that's about 13%. Only one black person got engaged. It was a girl, and it was to a white guy in our class. So everybody else was a non-black person, whether they were Asian, white, Middle Eastern, some of them I don't they identify a bit differently. No, it was just so different for us. And let's say right now we wanted to, because this is where I think is a bit different. I've noticed for black people that go to graduate school, but they go to like an HBCU, feel like see more of them getting married compared to like going to a PWI. And I think it could be a numbers thing, right? Having more people to choose from because, like you said, the average black person dates another black person. Even the men, 85% of the time, they're married to us. Women, 93% of the time. So going to a HBCU, I think definitely increases the numbers because you have more of a pool to choose from. And these are professionals, So for people that are saying, oh, they can't find someone.
grad school, I agree with you. Maybe grad school, but I don't
Yes,
think
grad school. Yes, I know. I can name how many off my head. I think it's definitely a different. Not to say everyone's going to jump in and get married, no. But compared to PWI, the numbers they're different. It's definitely higher.
Bradley Pitt said, check out Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay, I never heard of Dr. Claude Anderson. I agree. It's hard for other races and groups, and including Black people, to see ourselves live a comfortable life. But a lot of Black men talk about Black women not being quality women and knowing how to be a wife, but they wasn't even raised by a wife, meaning their mothers. Can you share the incentives of a Black woman getting married in today's baby mama culture?
A black man, usually this is
No, a Black man.
Um, number one, we talk about baby mama culture because it's funny. This came up in a video I was watching earlier today. I think we have to be very careful because we talk about earlier the shame, and a lot of the shame usually lying on women. But this baby mama culture is created by black men. It's black men getting these women pregnant and I'm hearing them. I'm not absolving responsibility from black women. I'm not saying that we can't do better and we can't choose partners better. But if we're going to bring up the sentence of a black man getting married and say it's baby mama culture, the black men are the ones causing this culture because they should be marrying the women they're getting pregnant, right? If we're thinking like if we're doing it the traditional way or old school or how it was done back in the day, you got a woman pregnant, that's automatic marriage, whether you liked it or not, and you stuck it out. But why is it so easy for men, not a black men, some black men to get women pregnant and then tomorrow turn around and use that same mouth to call her baby mama? But how many women have you made a baby mama by getting pregnant and not marrying them? So
Oh,
these are
oh no, you can keep going.
so these are the women now. Like I don't think it, and I get what you're saying. You talk about the incentive. I don't. We talk about all the time. We're Nigerian Americans, so I feel like with this baby mama culture, I don't know. It's a bit. I read it a bit differently because I personally, that's not something I grew up seeing that much, to be honest, and it's not something that affects me directly or immediately. And I do think it's also pushed. Like we talk about the media and social media, I think a lot of it is really heightened and pushed out to paint Black women in a certain way and make us seem like we're just going around having kids everywhere with men that we're not married to. But I could pull it the same way. The average woman's not a babe, quote unquote, is not unmarried with children, whether she may be a single mother from a divorce or her partner may passed or whatever. But I don't think that quote unquote, 'cause I don't even like that term, baby mama culture is enough reason for a man to say he's not getting married. Because there's many women who are not in that category that they can choose from.
I can give an incentive of getting music, an incentive of a Black man getting married in today's baby mama culture. I still think that, I'm not a man, but for a man, I would want to live with my children. And I would want to raise my children and see them every day. And what you see happening in the Black community and the Black families being destroyed with the baby mama culture, right? So I feel as if it's hard to really be a good father when you don't live with your child. I wouldn't want my child every other weekend. And I don't want any random man raising my child. I don't
Right.
want my child in the house with another man when I'm alive. So if
Right.
I was a man, I feel like the incentive to still getting married is because I want to protect the nuclear family. Like I want to see my kids every day and live with my kids and raise my children. I don't want to be like that's just me. And I know things happen and but I do think that a lot of men of color still should see that as an incentive, like being there for your child and living in the same house as your child versus having four kids in four different houses. Like that's not ideal. If I was a man, that's not what I would want. I would want to be with my kids and raise my children every day.
I
So I
think
think that's incentive.
I think that's a great incentive. Let me see. Bradley Pitt said, "Our women are taught to be strong and independent. Why women are told to find a husband in college?" And I agree with that, Bradley. But we have to think about the why. We have to do the root cause analysis. If this group of women are being taught to be strong and independent, there's a reason why. Like we mentioned, one subscriber made a comment earlier about what a lot of women grew up seeing. A lot of women were even told you can't rely on men. And that's even though they want to go into marriage and they want to rely on that partner, they still even have to shake that mindset because it's their reality for them. If you're a woman and you grew up and your father walked out on you, you grew up in a single family household, is it a shock that those women are now going to be strong and independent and be taking care of themselves because they got the messaging that men, particularly Black men, can't be trusted, or they're not reliable, or they're not going to protect them. So it's not to blame anybody. When we're so quick to think about why people think the way they think or say things they say, we have to understand there's a reason behind it. And it's not to say it's your fault, Bradley Pitt, that you're going to sit here and now have to carry the cross for a bunch of other people. But there's a reason behind it.
Okay. Dr. Claude Anderson speaks on how we spend but don't own any industries that produce what we buy. Interesting. Okay. And Coach, he said, yes, yes, and yes. That is the essence of what I'm saying. The mindset with our culture is not family oriented focused these days as it was in the past. Understand that social engineering is at play.
Like
Okay.
social engineering.
What are y'all personal reasons why y'all want to be married besides the way you may have been taught, raised, etc.? Hey Mia. Me
Right.
personally, I think about that sometimes because sometimes I'm wondering, like, is it just a cultural thing? Is this something that's just been I've been brainwashed? Is it something that's been indoctrinated in me? I would say the main reason, honestly, why I personally want to get married is for consistency. And like, I don't enjoy getting to know different people. I don't like that phase.
Dating is dumb.
Yeah, to me, dating is dumb and it's a waste of time, right? Like, if God could tell me at what age if God could tell me the name of the person that was going to be my husband, I put it on my life. I could stay by myself until I meet that guy. Like I really don't enjoy meeting random people and getting to know them. So for me, I just like that I like the monogamy. I like the security. I'm not saying it's 100% secure because I can't control someone else, but I just like being with one person and sticking to one person. I feel like that's personally my main, and obviously to have children because I don't want to have children if I'm not married.
Yeah, I would kind of go with the same. And also, you could bring the religious part into it. There's certain things we're not supposed to be doing, quote unquote, if we're if we have certain beliefs. So I think that, marriage, it's not easy. Of course, I've never been in it, but I can imagine relationships aren't easy. Even relationships with your family, your friends, they come with their challenges, but it doesn't mean that they're not worth it, right? It's just we're humans. We have our issues. So I think I would agree. I would piggyback up Netta's reason, just having that one consistent person, having a family unit, having children with one person, and just live sharing your life with someone. I think that is it's a beautiful thing.
Bradley Pitt, no shade. Women don't know how to choose men. That's why we had arranged marriages centuries ago. Really? That's what you think?
And we know how to choose women. They're the ones crying about all these women that they choose and how they're behaving. I think it could go
No.
both ways.
A lot of females kick the man out of the house in exchange for Section 8 voucher and food stamps and government assistance. To be fair, Little Ness, the type of women you're explaining, I don't think they were married to these men. It sounded like I'm not making. I don't want to make assumptions, but with this situation and this background information, it sounds like you're talking more of like women that just had a child with a guy, or like living people that are like living together, just a relationship. It doesn't sound like when you say kick out, you're talking about kicking out a boyfriend or kicking out a husband. And I still, I don't know if I've heard about this even in the book I read, "Is Marriage for White People," but I don't know. Charles, or you both said, how about black women divorcing, leaving black men 80% of the time? Okay, Charles, we hear this stat a lot about women leaving, but do you feel like when women leave, they just randomly get up and go? Like, you
I
don't
think women who are, you think women even want to leave? The average woman, men will always bring up the stat to say how many women leave, but they won't bring up what they do to make women leave, right? They won't bring up the behaviors and no one is perfect. We're not saying that women are perfect, but for the most part, I believe when women are walking away, they have their reasons. And you as a man may not agree with the reasons. You may think they're fickle, or you may think they're not that serious, or something that can be worked out. But people just on average just don't walk away without fighting or without some type of trying or making their, but it comes to a point people have to make their decisions that they feel like are in their best interest. But I feel like this number is pushed around a lot, and I think that is disingenuous to put out now that 80% of black women file divorce or leave without showing what the reasons they're leaving for. We can't have a balanced conversation if we're not going to also speak to their reasoning versus just pulling out a stat.
And to be honest, Charles, I really think when I think about the lifestyle modern women live, especially American women, because with this stat, you talk about black women, but this divorce issue is talked about with women
It's
in
about
America.
70% of women overall,
I
right?
really think the American lifestyle, when women have to work and take care of, I think a lot of women are just under a lot of stress, to
Mhm.
be honest. And I'm not giving that as an excuse to divorce, but I think a lot of women also are probably very burnt out and just tired, really tired and burnt out and unhappy. So I think that might be a factor. I'm not saying it's right. I don't believe in divorce. Divorce is not what I pray for anyone to go through. But I think a lot of women, honestly, are just really, really stressed out. And
Mhm.
I definitely think that's a contributing factor that people don't talk about a lot. T said, when white men 50 plus years ago normalized having children out of wedlock, it took generations after to adopt that mindset. You don't have to get married in order to have a family is a deterrent to our communities. I'm not understanding. WHH is a deterrent to our communities. You can be married, she can kick you out tomorrow, and you'll be seeing your kid every weekend anyway. Yeah, but
That's
that's
not normal.
not the
Kick
like
you
that's
out. Give me reasons. Did you cheat? Did you abuse her? Like you guys are making it seem like women just walk around. I'm happy. Get out of my house today. Like that's not average. There's something there, and I'm not condoning it. I'm not accepting. I'm not promoting it. But we have to, if we're gonna have these real conversations, we can't be just playing victim here. Men love to do this. They love to come out and say women file divorce. They kick us out. They do that without giving the reasonings that women are doing, that are pushing women to do this. In America, women, you think a woman wants to be taking care of kids by herself if she doesn't have to? You think a woman wants to be in a house with kids by herself just for fun? If they do, most of them doing these things, if they may feel as if they don't have another choice, they may feel as if that's the only other option. So we have to be balanced when we make these type of statements.
Brad said, I can help y'all get married next week. Let go of fairy tale ideas. I think I understand the aspect of fairy tale ideas. I definitely think a lot of women have that. But I honestly, to be fair, Brad, I still see a lot of women accept the bare minimum and still not get marriage and still not get what they want and still be miserable and still be unhappy when they're quote unquote far away from fairy tale. You get
Woo, they in the slumps.
I think there's like I agree with you to an extent, but I also feel like It's not always what it seems. Effie said, raising our kids the way we ought to raise them or how I want to be honest, requires marriage for me. I'm tired of mothering my job and investing in a career that will never love me back. Wow, that's deep. Kicking out the child's father. Both couples weren't married, just had a child with their partner. Okay. And I just don't really hear about. I feel like I hear about the situation on social media, but I don't really know women that, like, personally, I've heard a woman just kick her husband out or kick her boyfriend out the house. Like, I don't.
They'll go on lives on Daddy Freeze. Husband, what's it? Wife kicks out husband in cold Chicago winter. They won't they'll just go and just pull. And I get it, because I understand men feel as if there's a lot of things that they can't talk about, that
Mhm.
women get more public sentiment. That's true. That's true. Women can cry. They can go out and say their story. Some women will come and narrate their story. You don't even know them. Tears will be coming down your eye, because you could just empathize with a woman when they say certain things. And men aren't allowed or not given the same opportunity to be as vulnerable and to tell their side. So, of course, I say all the time, there's always three sides to the story: your side, my side, and the truth. You know why? No one is lying, but perception is real. And
Mhm.
how you see something and how I see something is different. It doesn't make me a liar. It doesn't make you a liar, but it's just our experience and our perception. So, in that case, I think that when a lot of men make these comments about women kicking men out, I think that low key they're kind of blindsided, or it's not something that necessarily maybe expected, because maybe there was a gap in communication, or the women weren't as clear in communicating what they wanted or needed. There's a lot of reasons, right? But let's not run and make it seem like the average woman is kicking a man out the house. It's not true. It's not. Are there women doing it? Absolutely. But it's not average. It's not a everyday occurrence, okay? Not a everyday, but it's not a standard practice. Just kick a man out your house. No.
Do y'all think people idolize marriage due to people that are already married glamorizing it and not stating the truth of what happens in marriage versus putting on a front acting like marriage is perfect? No, I don't
Man,
think so.
you listen to Tony Gaskins. So I don't know if you're speaking to one of the videos he had just recently posted. I was share it with Nana. I was talking to her about it. Is that when it came to the whole Risa Tisa story and how people are responding to it as if it was so crazy, he made a video talking about how he feel like people aren't as open and transparent about the issues they face in marriage or relationships, because if they were, people wouldn't be responding so crazy to Risa Tisa. Because he personally feels like a lot of people experience something very similar to her on a day-to-day basis. So I think that is I think but I think it can honestly even go the other side, right? But because I feel like, because people can pull up the divorce statistics almost like 50% and all these negative things, I think that if low key there's a side of people who idolize marriage, and there's a side of people who are like very anti-marriage, because they feel as if it doesn't work, or if it worked, why would half of people end up in divorce or whatever. So I think it can go both ways, but I get what you're trying to speak to.
Okay, so we can't go through all the comments. Let's go to the main ones. Music said, no disrespect, men are telling you their reasons why they're not getting married at a rate of other races, yet their reasons are being dismissed or being brushed off. Let's be a bit unbiased. Okay, that's fair. I don't know what that means. Um, I'll come back to Mia. Stressed out, bring back polygamy. Here we go. Women can't wait to divorce. Oh gosh. So music, he said, he said, women can't wait to divorce. What's it called? And then T said, did you stop providing, cheat, physical, verbal abuse, mental abuse? You really have to stop. Women can have a low tolerance level and a lack of forgiveness. Look at how Simone Biles Owens was pressured to divorce her husband over Betty thing. I don't even know about this story. I don't really
I didn't follow it.
she said Brad is a troll. Tia Mori Lily divorced her husband because she graduated from her marriage, whatever that means. You have to be current with what's happening, ladies. Yes, we have to be current music, but like we said, mentioned earlier, is that we understand no one's arguing. Even Dr. Phil was on The View. Dr. Phil, a white man, said Americans divorce too much over things that are not serious. He
Hmm.
said it plain out. Like, no one is arguing that divorce, 1 and 2 divorces is abnormal. But you also have to understand that baby mama, that divorce, like, it's still not normal. We didn't grow up around that. That's
Right.
just to be
We
honest.
do
Like,
have a natural bias, because, as we mentioned, we're Nigerian American.
right.
So
So
I
like,
know what I've seen Nigerian women fight to stay in marriage, to the point that is not they should be getting divorced. To be honest, they shouldn't be married. And I know the lengths that women go through to keep a marriage together. So to make it, when we make these blanket statements, particularly, we have to understand that Black people, yes, we're Black, but we're not a monolith. I know we're talking about Black people overall. So of course, it's easy just to pin just one Black experience, but we have very different experiences. Because I could tell you for free, if they started breaking down these divorce numbers based on ethnicities, it would look a little bit different. And it's not to say that one is necessarily better than the other, because like I said, people have their reasons, and I'm not really about telling grown people how to live their life, but we have to be a bit more balanced, right? Playing the blame game is not getting us anywhere. We can't blame women, be blaming women. It's about being accountable. Yes, even Hope made the point about women can have low tolerance level. I think I can see that, but I also think that low tolerance could come from accepting a lot of stuff consecutively and coming to a breaking point and just being like, I'm just done. And it may be that little basic simple thing that's not that serious that could be your tipping point and can be your like, I'm ready. I don't want this anymore.
Remember that in the late 70s and 80s, a large portion of women got great incentives to maintain a single parent home. Yeah, I read about this. The baby mama culture really exploded and took prominent among us then. That's incentives to maintain a single
That's
parent
when
home.
the 70s is when the black rate of marriage started
But
dropping.
if I stand to be corrected, isn't this also happening in a lot of European countries why people are not hyped for marriage too? Like I hear that this
A lot of
happens
social benefits from,
right
yeah.
when you're not married. So a lot of women are not necessarily that pressed to be married. A relative of mine in the late 60s told his side chick to get on welfare instead of taking care of the kid. Wow. Males then and today encourage women to get on social services. Interesting. I'd like to tell y'all my story. My divorce was finalized last week. Okay,
You
Joy,
have to tell me, just don't just we got to. I know it's maybe a bit a little emotional, so we got to just keep things. But we got to share the link. We need someone to come and narrate their story and tell us why are black women single. Then go through the comments. I'll share the link.
okay. No women want to raise their kids by themselves.
They don't in America. Even with the husband, you stressed out. Like who wants to be a single mother? Like that's not a first option if you don't have to be.
What are some things you'll notice that you'll settle for relationships? Pastor Carr, I'll come back to this. Charles said, anecdotally or observations on social media, majority of times, black women reasons for leaving are we grew apart, I'm growing, he is not motivated, he's not making enough money. And to be fair, I can see where you're coming from, but just personally, I feel like even if someone's to get a divorce, are they supposed to come out and tell you the real reason? I know I'm not trying to defend women, no one come for me, but if someone's to come out and really get divorced and let's say the man did something terrible, you don't feel like a respectful woman would still hide it or like still omit some
I
stuff?
think you're thinking too, maybe a Nigerian woman, but I think in American culture we're very open, and people are for the most part are pretty transparent. And like we talked about shame earlier, American culture has removed that shame for the most part when it comes to certain things. So I believe that the average person would come out and tell their reasonings for sure. They may not. You're saying that there may be more to it. Is a point you're trying to make?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure.
We grew apart, I'm growing, he's not motivated, he's not making enough money. But I've heard, I'm not gonna lie, I meet, and what I think happens with a lot of black women that I meet, I would say, aside from like cheating and all of that, I've heard them say that they feel as they get to a point where they feel like they're doing better than their man. Like they're like the one that's like hustling, trying to like do better. They feel like the man lacks ambition. And they started lower off and they're kind of surpassing their partner. And I can understand as a man how that would probably make you feel really, really upset because you're like, if you really love me, money shouldn't be the reason why you all of a sudden don't want to be with me. So
There was no reason initially.
right. Music said, are we not going to talk about the material man being passed on in your youth years, ladies? Marriage material man being passed on. So marriage material man, I feel like is interesting because I really feel like that narrative tries to make it seem like a marriage material man has to be a man that's not attractive, a man that nobody wants,
Right.
very geeky, a man that's very nerdy.
Like
And
when you say marriage material, is it just that they want to get married? Because that's not alone. That alone is not marriage material. So are you saying in a sense that they're marriage minded or that they have the qualities? I'm assuming you're meaning that they have the qualities to be married. And I think that's an argument that's used a lot by men, especially men that feel as if they're like the good men who are passed up or that aren't given the chance, and that all like 90% of women are chasing after the 10% of men, right? And that they're not like that, these highly desired men. Um, but to be honest, we say it can go both ways, because we also have the women who are dating the men who they know are not what they need, or who are not, trying to basically give them the benefit of the doubt, helping them, get on their feet, supporting them. My one guy friend was telling me how he was an undergrad, and his one of his female friends, her boyfriend was living with her in her dorm. Like, I just feel like it's just unfair, because I know particularly black women, what they endure in relationships, a lot of them, and a lot of things they do to support their fellow man. And it's almost like the narrative wants to be that we're all chasing the 10% of men. We're all going after the athlete. We're all going after the rappers, and the average man still plays games.
That's what
The
Evie said.
regular, the regular guy still, I didn't even read Nevy's comment yet. The average guy still plays you. The average guy will still make you feel as if I should have went for that baller. I should have went for that, and at least got money. Because by the time they done with you, it's not a. I feel like we have to. I get where it's coming from, but we have to also understand that because you go after the average regular guy doesn't mean you're going to get a better outcome. It's not guaranteed. It's not written anywhere. It's just the argument is that there's more of them to choose from. Yes,
Yeah.
but from my experience, men are men. Men are men. Like,
Evie said just because a man is geeky or nerdy doesn't mean he won't play in your face. Be for real, for real. And Mia said the geeks be the best cheaters because you don't see it coming versus the popular guys. You see it coming.
yes, all right, T, we have you in the stage. We shared the link too, Bradley. We want you to join as well. We want to hear about your divorce. So sorry about that. We're gonna add you, T, to the stage.
Hello, ladies.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Before in like our comments, are you new to our channel?
I'm very new to your channel. I just came across it and I saw the title of the topic, and then I just said, let me see what this is about.
Well, nice. Thanks for joining. So I know you're making your contributions, and we appreciate you. But let us know about this topic. I don't know when you joined in, but what are some reasons that you think Black women face some challenges that when it comes to dating relationships that non-Black women don't?
So there's several reasons. I think so. For the first one is that men and women do not date and marry for the same reasons. That's across the board with all races. We don't date and marry for the same reasons. Meaning, the reasons why we get into marriage, dating, and marriages are very different. I think the other thing is that we're living a time, we're in the age of technology and imagery and information and social media. But prior to social media, we're inundated with images. We're inundated. I believe I'm gonna go deep with this. This is my conjecture. I think it starts from a time from pornography has ruined us. I think like I said, imagery in the age of technology, movies, technology, Hollywood,
Stuff like
whatever.
OnlyFans and all that stuff.
OnlyFans, all of these things, even back from the 70s and beyond, things became excess. We so, and if you could hear my accent, obviously I'm from a major city, and um, I think, like I said, we don't date and marry for the same reasons. It's not no one reason why our community is not. I also could take it back a little further from the to the Black Panthers and the movement for integration. Integration also, I think, purposely was for Black males to have access to non-Black women. I've dated a guy who's biracial. His father was a Black Panther and his mother was Caucasian. And how I connect all these dots is that for the past 50 plus years, going a little over 50 years, maybe 55 years, the world is constantly evolving and changing. We know that. But the thing is that our there's no incentive, is no real reason with diversity, integration, interracial marriage, and more among the Black males. um I think also that's a component. Then you have the fact that people are inundated with images. How does that affect us? So you have the Instagram models, the OnlyFans. Everyone's getting BBLs, boobs, Botox, lips, hair, nails. So it's not reality. So people, and men and women both have their fantasy dream girl or dream guy. And I think men fixate on, they're more visual and they fixate on fantasy. Some women fixate on fantasy. I think people don't live in reality, and they feel like they need more or deserve something better or something, someone in perfection, when we're not in perfection, right? I think those are factors. And I also think that the world has changed in a positive way and a negative. Women are more integrated into the workforce. Women are, they're the ones who are completing, going to school, completing degrees, and they're integrating the workforce. They've proven over and over, time and time again, we're just as good and sometimes better. So you have the income disparity that also is a major factor on why men feel maybe inadequate. A young lady like you, two young ladies, you're educated, you have it together. They meet you, they feel less than, and they feel emasculated because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or they, you know it's just so many layers to this. It's no one reason. It's a accumulate. I can't articulate myself, but it's a number of reasons why specific our community, but it also spills into others, why people don't want to get married. And also, yeah, I wanted to put this in. I know I'm gonna let you get the floor. I've noticed, even myself, I've been engaged twice. I've never been married, but I realized, when you're single, you get lonely, you sometimes get dangerously horny, but you also, you're living. You get up every day, you go to work, you go to school, you go to work, you take care of yourself, you have your friends, your family, travel, you engage in stuff. So you might have those bouts of loneliness, and maybe, wanting companionship, but you're living. And I know some women, they're single, and the minute they get into a relationship, they're miserable. And then you have the component of, yes, the relation. I mean, you're not always happy when you're in a relationship, because you're giving a lot of yourself. You're giving up your space, your time. And sometimes, males perform. Males go in. They're not there for the right reasons. They're there. Sometimes they need help. They're lonely. They're lost. They're not dating and marrying you for the same reasons. Sometimes you're a placeholder. You're a you're a you're a come up girl, a placeholder for some guy. He done wasted your best years of your life, and then next thing you know, he takes off when he see the next best thing. And I'm not blaming men. I know there are some women that have their issues, and we gotta take accountability. But I think the issue with us, I mean, the issue is that we're not dating and marrying for the same reasons. We've been indoctrinated and conditioned as women to want marriage, seek marriage. It's all from Hollywood to Disney to
Disney's a big one.
romance novels. Your mom, your grandma, oh, go find that good man, girl. And we are these good men because mommy, dad, grandma, none of you got the good man. Nobody got the good man. This proverbial golden unicorn, golden black unicorn, Prince Charming, knight in shiny armor, that no one gets. No one got this guy. And I don't believe that there. I think there's some decent men out there, but it's like, things have changed so much. The world has evolved so quickly in the past, like just 50 years in itself. Industrial booms and technological, everything has changed, and we're inundated with images and messages that
Yeah.
people don't know what to do. And they're terrified to commit. They're terrified to take a chance. And you have one side, and like I said, people, we're not marrying for the same reasons. Men and women, we're very different, and they don't marry and date for the same reasons. We're dating because we're told to. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to grow up and want that. And guys are told, like, well, you need to be a patriarchy says you have to be a provider, a protector, and stuff. And some guys, they missed the boat. They didn't find their calling. They didn't figure their purpose. They didn't have focus. They didn't have discipline. And then now, what do you do when you don't have discipline? They're not sexually disciplined. They're not, they don't have emotional, intellectual maturity, men and women. So everyone is just like a F fest. It's a F fest.
Yeah, now you bring up, you listed some good points, T. I'm gonna jump
Go ahead.
in terms
Go
of
ahead.
the
I'm
imagery.
sorry.
We talk about there's a lot of studies going out that's meant people are just very lonely, men especially, and a lot of it is attributed to lifestyle. We talked about the OnlyFans stuff like that, the access to those things. But you also did mention personal experiences, right? That being told to go after that, knight in shining armor, go after that guy, and you look at your life and you look at the women around you, and they didn't have those experiences. So I think that even though a lot of women go into desiring, I believe, marriage more than the average guy because it's conditioned, right? We're conditioned to Disney, everything, romance. Those things are pushed.
Exactly.
Who do they
Hmm.
push Valentine's Day on? It's on women. Men are not excited about Valentine's Day. Let's be
Hmm.
fair. Like, it's women that are getting all giddy and happy about this stuff. But at the same time, I think that we talk about we don't want to blame people because we don't grow by blaming. We have to be accountable, right? So
Right.
we're saying there are these issues. It's not specific to men. The issues also are coming from women. Them seeing these imageries. These images could be of them seeing men doing certain things for women, and them wanting that to be their life. Them wanting to be feeling as if I don't get this thing, I'm settling. If I don't have a man buying me this or
Hmm.
taking me on trips, I have a lot of guy friends, and I'm in Houston, Texas. If you don't know, my sister, she's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they talk about a big issue is meeting women, and one, two, three, they want to go on vacation. You meet a girl, you barely know her, she wants to take a trip, right? So you understand, you have to, when we try and see this, we're women, right? So naturally, women are going to have a bias for other women. Men are going to have a natural bias for other men. That's just facts. I don't care how much you say I'm not biased. I look at things from both sides. No, we all have our unconscious, conscious biases.
Right.
But when you talk to men, you also, because I talk about the dating experience in Houston and I talk to guys, male friends, and their experience are equally as challenging as women, right? Because sometimes we think that we're the ones experiencing these things. We think that we're the ones that are having the issue. But we have men in this chat even talking about their experiences, the things that they perceive the average woman is looking for, maybe based off the type of women they've come across. And it's not fair for us to, negate their experiences or tell them that their feelings are not valid because we don't fall into those pool of women, because we don't behave like that. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying, and I think that it's specifically when it comes to Black community. I just feel as if a lot of people do desire to get married. I won't argue that, but I just feel as if it's not it's not prioritized as much as other communities prioritize it. I remember being at a point when me and my sister would be in group chats. We were 24 or 25 years old talking about marriage. It comes to a point people be like, "You guys are talking about marriage too much. Can we talk about something else? You guys are always talking about marriage." Like it's almost like a negative thing versus would we be getting that same feedback if we were not Black? You know what I mean? Would they be telling us at 25 that we're talking about marriage too much? I don't feel like 25 is too young to be talking about marriage. Like I feel like that's the age you're supposed to be talking about it, right? But
Hmm.
the way other people respond to you, or even the things that they will tell you, is almost like they give you that message and like you shouldn't be worried about that. Like you're too young for that. Focus on other things. And as a result, we're 2024 and we come to this. So thanks for calling in and giving us your input. It was really helpful. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of content about relationships, living in Houston, Texas, living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and
Hmm.
hope to see you around later. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Brad, we're still waiting for you. We want to hear your story. Brad, please join. I'm gonna reshare the link. I'm gonna pin the link in the comments, but join if you can. Now you go through the comments. Let me share the link.
Now we'll probably finish it up. The 70s and 80s should not be ignored because it was aggressively pushed in the African American communities purposely to undo the late 50s and 60s when we were together. Loving versus Virginia allowed interracial dating to open up. It was between a white man and a Black woman. Okay, good to know. I'm going to look into that. Indians, Chinese, etc. use social media too. Charity begins at home. Culture decadence has engulfed our society, in my opinion. That's a good point. Everyone uses social media, so why would only one group of people be blaming social media?
Because, okay, Charles, we could say this. But let's say we go on a page, right, and you see a Black man praising a woman, treating her so well, doing certain things for her, cooking her a meal, massaging her back, giving her money. Go and look at those videos, the type of comments that are on social media. What is that man automatically reduced to? A simp.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see that same behavior come from a white guy, come from an Indian guy, come from a Chinese guy, come from an Argentinian guy, it's not to say people won't say serious things.
Oh,
Or thank you. It's that sentiment. Oh, that's so cute. He loves her. He's so charming. He's so romantic. So it's almost like the media also feeds into it because yes, other people are using it, but are they seeing the same things that we're seeing? Is it being used in the same? Are they going around making a bunch of podcasts bashing their fellow men and women? Are other groups doing that? Come on, let's be real. We're black. We have real conversations with ourselves. I'm tired of these podcasts, both men and women. I'm not even blaming anyone. People are just going on talking, just talking ridiculously, bashing the other gender. Does any other race do it at the rate of black people? Let's be honest. Like there's something there. There's something there. Oh, Brad joined. Let's go through the comments so we can get Brad on the stage real quick. Okay. Don't be surprised if a Houston girl asks for rent or bills paid up. Yep. Don't be surprised. Yep. You know our girls. I'm a newbie. This stuff is Brad. All right. Let me add you to stage. Add you to the stage, Brad. Thanks for joining in, Brad. How are you doing this evening? You're muted, Brad.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. How you doing, Brad?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for joining in. You made a comment about, just finalizing your divorce, and it seems as if you're, open to share it. So we just wanted to hear more about your situation.
Okay, so I'll touch a little bit tonight. I'm a truck driver, so I have to be up early in the morning.
That's fine.
So I guess we can figure out another day. And I found you guys today. The algorithms.
Oh,
But
nice.
but how would I say it? Where do I begin? I think simply to put it, I've learned that the reason it was so easy for my wife to walk away is some of the stuff you said. Romanticism, the romantic idea, and feminism.
Oh,
And what I'm finding out is that a lot of relationships today, these are the two major things that are causing a lot of relationships to fail. Romanticism and feminism.
okay. So you
So
speak on feminism. I know this is a big talking point on the other side, and they use this a lot to speak to, why relationships aren't working, women's unrealistic expectations, women being unbearable. So when you speak to feminism, what exactly, based on your understanding of feminism, do you think contributed to the situation?
simply to simplify, women don't need men. Um, some women feel that they're better than men. Um, what else? Then you have the other issue where a lot of women are they're out earning men, and so you have this thing called hypergamy, and then that becomes a problem
Mhm.
because the woman now feels like she is higher than the man. Because you were talking to this earlier. There's a gentleman, he wrote a paper on this, and basically, whenever women start to earn more than the man, they usually start to feel better than him, and those marriages most of the time end in divorce. If not divorce, the woman starts to cheat because now she's losing respect for him, and like one of y'all said, she starts to she starts to feel like he's not motivated, he lacks ambition,
Mhm.
and so these different things contribute to the failure of the marriage. Um, the other thing, romanticism, like you said earlier, women are not what I said. I mean, men are not too enthused about that about Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
It's not for us. It's for the women. But
Right.
let's go a little deeper. The idea of love as a feeling is the thing that I'm getting at. So before 1750, love wasn't okay. I should say it like this: love didn't become popular in marriages until 1789. But of course, before that, people got married because of what they did, land, and joining alliance, joining forces to get certain things done. But when love took over, it created this. How would I say it? Let me back up a little bit. Basically, y'all gotta forgive me because I'm nervous.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
We
yeah.
here
I'm not.
for
I'm
you.
not
Don't
used
be nervous. Now, is that you typing or is that Brad typing?
No, what's happening? I'm done.
Okay, yeah, it was coming up in the microphone, but no, take your time. You're talking about the evolution of love, and I guess we don't have to go that far. I know you're on a time crunch, but
Yeah.
you spoke specifically to And I think, let's be real, those are valid points, right? But I could spin it this way, Brad. Is
Okay.
it that women start feeling as if they're better than men when they make more, or that men start feeling insecure? Because
Um.
listen, Brad,
Yeah.
let me tell you,
Yeah. Go
there's
ahead.
scenarios where I've seen women make significantly more than their partners,
Yeah.
but they still are very respectful. They act the same way. They're still, very submissive, doing the same things they did before, but it still is like the men are. It does something to their ego. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So some of them are just, especially we're talking about, we come from an African background, Nigerian American, especially in our culture, men are really pushed to be providers. That's just the way it is. So I do agree. There are some women who make money and throw it in a man's face. We're not going to act like that doesn't exist. But at the same time, there also are men who, as a result of that woman making more, just start to feel naturally insecure.
This is
And
true.
I understand that. So it's not that the woman is going around saying, I feed you, you won't be in this house if it's not for me. Da 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 da. The woman can still be moving the same way she moved before, but now that she's making more, it's affecting you differently.
This is true. This is true. No, you're right. I don't know if you guys know 70. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still talking? My bad.
No, I'm not talking
Oh,
to you.
okay, okay. Are you guys familiar with 77%? It's a German show. Well, I mean, I guess it's German based, but they have clips on YouTube and they go around different countries in Africa.
No, I'm not.
No, okay, okay. You should check it out. 77%. It's just, it's really cool. They had a debate about that, and I understand what you're saying. No, you are right. Um, for a man, we're expected to provide. It's who we are. But with the advent of technology, it's now easier for women to make, if not what we make, or more. So, like, let's say me, my ex-wife made more than I did.
Hmm.
All right, she made a little more than I did. Okay, cool. It wasn't a problem for me because at that time for me, I believed in the whole one pot thing, and like even that kind of touches on the conversation. Or what do you bring to the table? Like I'm not a fan of that conversation because for me, um, it's one table, and we're putting everything we got together on that table, and we're gonna work it from there. Now, that's a bit idealistic because now let's say you come into the game, you got a $500,000 net worth, and I got $200,000 net worth, and you like, well, I don't want to mix our parts together because I got more than you. Okay, I can understand that, but idealistically speaking, I would prefer us just have everything together. I don't know. I feel like I'm all over the place right now.
No, I get it.
Um,
You're not looking at what do you bring to the table. What is mine is yours. What is yours is mine.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
there. This is a union, but it becomes more difficult, like you mentioned, even both ways, Brad, because it's not even just a woman thing. Because you didn't mention gender, which is very important because even now you find men entering marriage later and later, and they have more, and they also want to protect themselves.
yeah.
A lot of people are speaking that prenup, talking this and that. It's not just women feeling like, oh, I don't want him to touch mine. It's also men feeling like, I don't want you to touch mine either. So it does make it harder to have that one pot mentality when someone has significantly more. That's fair, irrespective of gender, right? It does make it a little harder to have that one pot mentality because it's almost like it's unfair to some people because it's like, wait, I have three times as much as you. Why should we all be sharing it? Like that's not fair. But yeah, I think I understand your sentiments, and we're sorry about your divorce, and and I think that's also we spoke to men not being able to talk about their situations, and almost like when you think about divorces or relationships breaking up, you just think a bit more of affecting the woman versus the man. And trust me, I've gotten older to realize that that's definitely not the case, and that partners are equally affected. It's just that women are allowed to express it a bit more publicly, right? But when we talk about women walking away, because I don't know if you made one of those comments about women, just up and leaving or walking away. I think it's important to, get into that because I think that you made a comment, women can't wait to divorce. I think that we have to be careful when we make these statements because I think it's very easy to just be read as if women are just divorcing just for fun.
Okay, okay, wait. All right. Listen, all right. Yes, okay. My background is Haitian, so just to kind of say that. You remember that did you guys see the African? I think he was from Nigeria. The guy, he was somewhere in Africa, the soccer guy, and he was like, man, American women, they don't know how to cook, and they just can't wait to divorce you. They like They be like, I'm gonna divorce your ass. Keep playing with me. Y'all ain't see that?
No.
Oh man, okay,
So
okay,
that's
okay.
what you were quote. That's what you were referencing. Like you were like,
Yeah. Women can't wait to divorce. Yeah, because it's a running joke. But unfortunately, like, okay, put it like this: this whole conversation that we're talking about right now. Um, so let me see. I'm going on 3 years now, separated, and my divorce was, like I said, it was finally finalized last week, right? So I became a part of this. I started learning about this stuff a couple years ago when I caught wind of Kevin Samuels, and I wasn't even looking for his stuff. I was just, because as a truck driver, I'm on YouTube all day, and so I caught wind of his stuff, and so as I begin to hear the stories, I'm like, wait a minute, oh wow, because like realistically speaking, like my daughter's mom, nobody getting their butt whooped. Nobody was being threatened. We had our issues, and what I will say for me, what I've learned, because I was raised by a single mom, and so now I've come to the realization that how being raised by a single mom or being raised around women, the effect that it has on men. So so when women say, "Oh, the men nowadays, oh, they want to act like the women. They want to be pampered. They want me to take them to go at XYZ." What they're saying is legitimate. Now, I didn't act like that, but I can definitely see how being raised by a woman can affect a man to be like, "Nah, well, I want to be treated. I want you to buy me the balloons and XYZ." I can definitely understand where they're coming from.
man
So,
wants soft life too, Brad.
um, well, no, listen. I'm saying, like, okay, well, that's a whole nother conversation. The whole
Yeah.
soft life. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
So I'll ask you this one question, 'cause I know we're in a time crunch. Do you
Okay.
feel as if cheating is a legitimate reason for a woman to file a divorce? And we'll end there.
Okay. No, not okay, not necessarily. What I do agree that cheating is wrong, right? And so this is the reason why, like me personally, I plan on practicing polygyny from now on, because I want to have multiple women, and it goes further than that. But the cheating, yeah, the
I hope you're
cheating is
not
wrong.
listening too much, brother Umar. But continue.
No, 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 no. Who you said, Dr. Umar? Is that
Yeah,
what you
I
said?
hope I hope you're not listening too much, Dr. Umar.
Oh
That's
no, 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 no. Listen, no, no, no. Listen. Okay, all right. That was a terrible joke, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going back to the ideas of old. It's clear if you pay attention, our new age ideas are failing us.
Yeah,
So,
I know we don't want to go into that hole because we know that's a. I get what you're saying. We don't want to go down that path. But the
yeah.
reason why I asked you that is because I think that you mentioned what didn't work. You had your issues, never hit her, but you didn't mention the cheating part. That's why I asked you, and I'm not
Oh,
going to put you on blast. That's
oh,
not.
no, 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 no. It's cool. No, no, no. Here's no. Funny thing is, no. Listen, no. I didn't cheat. I've never been a cheater, because honestly, it just takes too much energy to lie, and
It does.
yeah, it takes too much energy.
But
And this is
listen,
dude.
the reason why I asked you that is because I do agree that if men are honest, like you're
Yeah,
being honest right now, most
yeah,
men would agree with you. So
yeah,
I think that when men think of reasons that women are leaving as flimsy, especially men from a certain background, a
yeah,
certain age group who are raised a certain type of way, for an average woman, cheating is more than enough to walk away. So now, if that woman walks away, she left her marriage, right?
yeah.
She didn't fight for it. She left on a reason that is flimsy, or that's not that much of a reason. But for the woman's perspective, that's more than enough.
But
So
okay. I'm sorry. Okay, because I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
So I think that that has a lot to do with why a lot of men perceive women as walking away too easily or being so quick to file a divorce, because a lot of their reasons or things that they feel as if women should be able to put up with, women of this day are not putting up with it. That's just the truth. I agree with Hope that said women are not as tolerant. I agree. We're not as, we're not gonna, the things our mothers allowed, we can't allow.
Yeah,
We're not going to, and I don't think we should be forced to. So the option is either, we do better as men and women, or we accept that, because we accept that maybe, people are going to be more willing to walk away.
I personally believe human behavior is driven by consequences. So if people don't have a consequence for their behavior, they're going to keep doing what they want to do,
Yeah.
right? And men have been in a society where their bad behavior has not been, they have been able to get away with a lot of things that now are not going to fly. And I think I understand for a lot of men, it takes a lot of relearning, it takes a lot of reprogramming, and it's if you're not willing to do the work, it's going to be a problem, right?
Okay. Okay. Cool. But so now, okay. Now here's okay. So all of what you said, I'll simplify it by saying this. Um, I, we have a problem with acknowledging nature. Okay. So there was this. I don't need to go there. But basically, here's the
Nature
challenge.
on both ends or nature for men? Because
No, no, nature for both. No, on both ends. All right. So okay, so if you take a look at it, right, a man produces 100 million. Wait. Before I go there, what do you got? What's your background? Muslim, Christianity, or what?
we're
Who?
Christians.
Okay,
Christian.
Christian. Okay, cool. All right. So if you take a look, right, um, a man's sperm cell, like a man is producing about, I think it's 100 million sperm cells a day, right? So that's what 300 million sperm cells a month compared to your one egg a month. Your one egg a month. All right. So now, usually men want to have sex when it's like basically like men want to have sex because that's how we procreate, right? It's part of our nature. Women, on the other hand, y'all usually only not only, but a lot of the time you guys really only want to be intimate when it's time to when I guess when your egg is coming down and it's time to get pregnant. So when you look at that, just nature alone shows you like, nah, there's an imbalance. Like, men want sex a lot more than women do. Not only that, hold on, let me take it another step further. My divorce, my counselor who was helping us through the marriage, she okay, so she was helping us through the marriage. She's like 83, 84 years old now, right? She shared a story with us when she was working in, I can't remember the country, somewhere in Asia. She had a doctor that would, on his way home, stop by the whorehouse and then go home. But she was convinced, she knew that this man loved his wife. Why am I saying this? As a man, we're able to be, as a healthy man, we're able to be intimate with a woman or women and not have any physical and not have
I
any.
get what you're saying, Brad. And we said we're not going to go down this polygamy route, right? But
No, 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 no. I'm not the polygamy mouth.
I know. I get what you're saying. We got to wrap it up,
Okay.
with moderators.
Okay.
But
True.
at the same time, the biology reason, if I sit here, I'm a science person. My sister's a science person. We
Yeah.
understand science, and we know
Yeah.
there's a biology aspect to it, but it's
Yes.
not the majority. The main aspect is conditioning. That's what people don't want. Same way you feel like women are conditioned. I don't know who told you women only want to do it during their cycle. It's not true.
No, no. I said no. I didn't say.
Or
No, I
that
didn't
they
say no.
only have that desire. The same women are lining on the streets selling their bodies all around the world. It's conditioning. It's programming. Men have been conditioned to behave a certain way and it's acceptable. And women have been conditioned to behave a certain way. It's more biology. Yes, it's a part of it. We're not going to take that out of the equation, but you can't tell me it's 80%. You can't tell me 70. If a man wants to be with one woman and he makes a decision, he will. If he doesn't want to, he'll give every excuse in the book to not be with one person. That's fine. Just make sure the woman, knows that, and you know that, and you guys do whatever you want to do. You mentioned a polygamy. That's fine. You guys have that agreement. But I just don't want to send out that message that low key because of biology, women should accept cheating because it's not about biology. Cheating comes with risks. It comes with diseases. It comes with a lot of other stuff, out unwanted pregnancies, love children on the side that end up being an issue later down on the line.
Yeah.
So I get it. If for people that know it doesn't work for them, I'm not about forcing people to be with one person. Go do what you want to do. Make sure you and the person are both on the same page and no one is deceiving and lying to each other. But trust, if a man wants to be with one person, he will. If he doesn't, he won't. It's just that simple. I understand the biology part attached to it, but it's also a decision. It's a choice. You have to choose to, man or woman, you have to choose to be faithful. You have to choose to be with one person. Women also struggle as well.
But it does take a lot of discipline, like Brad is saying. I think
Discipline
that
is discipline. Yes, the decision, you have to be the disciplined person to be with one person for a long term. Like even for a woman, it's not easy. Like it's a challenge. But I do understand that because, like I said, of conditioning, because of the way the average woman is raised, that even if they have those desires, they may not, just because the same way you mentioned the doctor stopping at the whorehouse, he's sleeping with women, right? So those women are also sleeping with multiple men. So it goes both ways. Is the point I try to make it. It's not just a man thing. It goes both ways. But we're sorry to hear about your divorce.
Can I wait? I'm sorry. Can I leave you with a question and we can talk again because I'm actually getting into this space too. This whole YouTube and coaching and all that. I'll leave you with a question,
Mhm.
and you don't have to necessarily answer it now, but we can talk about it another time. But because you mentioned conditioning, but the idea of cheating or one man. Let's just use cheating for example. This is something that men all around the world deal with, and this has gone on because you say condition, and so let's say, okay, you can say, so one can make the argument right now, okay, boom, social media, TV, so on and so forth, but this stuff was going on before TVs came along and radio and mass messaging came along. This is something that's gone on for centuries or thousands of years. So I just want to ask you, why is like, yeah, women too, but it's majority of men that deal with this issue. That's all I want to ask. I mean, and
You're asking or just stating it?
well,
Why is it
I'm
the majority?
it's a question. It's a question, but you don't have to answer it now because I know you said you wanted to wrap up.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But what I still, when we make these points, who are these men sleeping with? They're sleeping with women, and all these women aren't single. So the point I'm making is that it's an I get it even from the Bible, but even the same Bible talk about Christians. There's a lot of prostitutes mentioned. There's a lot of women married servants. There's a lot of women who were not supposed to be women that God was supposed to work through or that God was supposed to be around, and He still showed mercy on them. So what I'm saying is that desire is not just a male desire.
But
It's
women just have more self control.
exactly, and they're conditioned to have more. So because I said human behavior is driven by consequences. If you can do something and know that there is no consequence to your behavior, you're going to keep doing it on average. And that has been the history of men. Their consequences haven't been as severe as women. So those consequences that the average woman has to deal with are what stops her from making the decision as easily or as often as the man. That's to me would be my answer. It's not because the desire is not there. It's not because they don't want to do it. Like I mentioned, who are the people selling their bodies across the world? It's women, right?
Yeah.
And so if we want to make that argument, aren't those women also sleeping with multiple men? Aren't they lying? Aren't they? And they're making money off of it. So we can't say that it's just a man's desire to be promiscuous. It's not true. It's just that it's more acceptable, and men have been conditioned to openly be promiscuous because they don't meet the same consequences that the average woman does. That's a big part of it. It's past biology. Biology may be a little foundational part, yes, but majority of it is conditioning. It's conditioning. No matter how we want to play it, no matter how we want to call it, it's conditioning. But thank you so much for joining. We hope to see you around. Make sure you subscribe. We have a lot of content like this. Good luck with your YouTube journey, and we'll see you around, Brad. Thanks for calling in.
Thank
Tuesday,
you.
8 o'clock
Good night.
Eastern time.
All right, y'all. It's been a long night.
We need to wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up. All right, we're just gonna go through these comments real quick. Charles said cheating is wrong, but shouldn't be just the reason to break up a family. Children and success and lives are a priority in marriage. All that, Robin, and hopefully, Charles, or you both, that goes both ways, right? Because if the woman cheats, are you going to come with that same argument? Are you going to say that my wife cheated, but that's our priority is our children and our marriage? And that's the problem that a lot of men have. If we want to have that argument, I'm okay, but it has to go both ways. It can't be just when the man messes up, but when the woman messes up, she's scrutinized, she's ostracized, she's looked down on. We can't have it. Can't be one way, Charles Oyubo. It can. If you want someone to have that mercy on you, also have that mercy for them. I say I don't give a lot of whatever you don't want someone to do to you, don't do it to them. That's the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. So if you are willing to forgive your wife for cheating, okay, then if she's willing to forgive you, it may work. But don't set a standard that you can't live up to. That's where, to me, it becomes an issue. Let me see.
That boils down to us be eating them up. Love it here. Great broadcast like always. Thank you, Latournez. It definitely has to go
It has
both.
to go both ways, and that's the problem. If you want to say that everyone makes mistakes, I understand. No one is perfect, but when the woman makes the mistake, are we going to be as forgiving?
Okay.
Lola,
And on this, Mia said per Tony Gaskins, a man can love a woman and still cheat on her, but if he is in love with her, he will not cheat on her. Big difference. Interesting.
yes, Lola.
Every need to stop. That was wrong. She said polygyny. Couldn't find that in Webster's. What's that? You know he's talking
Leave
about.
my man Brad alone, okay? All right, I should have asked that. Let me see, Lola. Hi, Lola. That's why circumcision is different for male and female. Yeah, it goes both ways. Family and immediate family therapy. I agree. I understand that. Anyone can make a mistake. I get it. Everyone can fall short of the glory of God, but just make sure that grace you want someone else to have for you, make sure you also have that grace for them. But yeah, we're wrapping up. Thank you all so much for joining us this Tuesday. Why are so many Black women single? We mentioned a bunch of reasons. I'm going to link our previous 3 videos we made years ago down below in the description box. But if you have any comments, you just put it down below what you think some of the reasons are. We talked about mindset in this live, right? Mindset being one of the main reasons why we feel as if just overall people, Black people specifically, are not prioritizing relationships and marriage at the rate that our non-Black counterparts are, right? People, we want to get the house, we want to get the big job, we want to, get all the investments, the crypto, the all of this, the all that before we settle down. A lot of men believe women are looking for all these crazy things, which I don't believe are true, but that's what social media is pushing. But we just went through some of these in today's live. And thank you all so much for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Like this video, share it with who you can. And we'll see
It
you.
is different. Polygamy and polygyny are different. Okay. All right. So it is different. All right. So Evie, look up Webster Dictionary again because they're different. So let me see polygyny. Polygyny. I feel
Thank
like
you,
we
Charles.
really
Are you Nigerian or you born? I'm trying to think if that's because I've seen that term before, but doesn't that mean a white person, American, or like a white person? Or you born? Where are you from, Charles? What state?
I feel like we need to like have a part two because I feel like we didn't even really go in like
Scratching the surface. This topic, we're just scratching the surface because I think to really get the conclusion we want, we need people to be accountable. We need accountability from both ends.
so I
What's
looked up let me see how they even say it. How do they say this word?
Oh, Mia asked us questions that we didn't answer yet. Remember, she asked all those questions.
Polygyny says the state or practice of having more than one wife or female mate at a time. So how is that different from polygamy?
It's at a time. Polygamy is marrying multiple women. Polygyny is saying one woman, a state of what?
Let me see. Polygyny says the state or practice of having more than one wife or female mates at a time.
Wife or female mate at a time. So distinguished coaching, Brad, tell us what polygyny, because I'm having difficulty finding it on my end as well. I don't know if it's
That's
not.
what polygyny says. So to me it sounds like I'm not really seeing it. Marriage in which polygamy says marriage in which a spouse of either sex may have more than one mate at the same time. Wait, so polygamy is men and women can be polygamous?
I thought women were poly. No. So that was poly. It's too many of these polys.
Yeah, it's too much going on. Too much going on.
All right, yes, Charles, are you? But that's what I thought. Okay, all right. Polygamy is having multiple partner, whether man or woman, right? And I think that polygyny is that specific to men.
Yeah, that's what it's seeming like that is specific to
So
men.
you wanted to that's that Brad, you want it to be one way. We talked about it. It gotta go both ways. Polygyny is one man, multiple women, right? So you want it one way. I'm curious as to why you want it one way. You think the woman don't want multiple as well. But let us thank you all so much for joining. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, super chat. It helps our channel, gets us into the algorithm, and we will see you on next Tuesday, same time, same place. Bye everyone.
Bye. And that's polyandry, one woman, multiple men.
All right, bye y'all.
Next Tuesday.